So today we are going to talk about forms. What are forms? Forms are basically shapes extended into the third dimension. So we've covered lines, we've covered shapes. Now it's time to go over forms. So the basic shapes that we covered were circle, triangle, and square. Now, we can make anything 2D out of these three shapes, and we can make anything 3D by the forms that I'm about to show you. So just combine these shapes, any two of them, and you get a form. Let's combine circle and triangle. We get a cone. We combine circle and square. We get a rectangle. Cylinder, I mean. Then we combine a triangle and a square. We get a pyramid. Pyramid is nothing but a square or rectangle for a base and three lines converging to a point. Four lines converging to a point. We cannot see the fourth side if it's a solid pyramid. If you can make anything out of these four shapes, there are two more. The circle, when converted into 3D, makes a sphere, and the square in 3D will make a cube or cuboid. We can make anything out of these 5 shapes. Let me demonstrate. Let's break down a hand. I have my hand here for reference. Always use reference. Using reference is not cheating. People have this notion that if you use reference, you are cheating somehow. No. Always use reference. It's better to use reference than to not use reference. There will be a time when you won't need reference, but in the beginning, use reference. The major use of these forms is to construct a figure or an object. We'll cover construction and form later. Right now, you just need to know how to break down the object or the body part or the body itself. So let's make a hand. three fingers, four fingers, and here we have the little finger. Now, the breakdown we have to do using forms. Let's see this. Let me change the color. This can be considered as a square. These can be also be squares and a triangle at the end. Squares, triangle at the end. And this can be broken down into random quadrilateral. Now, to make it simpler, let's use a square for a palm and rectangles and triangles for the fingertips. This is not the most prettiest hand, but this will work. This was the shape breakdown. You always start with breaking down the object you are about to draw into simple shapes. Then convert those shapes into forms. A cuboid for the palm. Rectangles, not rectangles, cylinders for the fingers. There are three joints in the fingers. And a cylinder for the wrist. So here we have a 3D hand, or the hand in the third dimension. So that's how the process works. When you've made this enough times, you'll be able to directly make this without going into this or this. So, there's one more thing we have to cover before we sign off. That is organic shapes and organic forms. Organic shapes are basically just random shapes. You should be able to make random forms like we did at the tip of the fingers. Organic shapes have no methodology to them. Next is organic forms. We just extend them into 3D, into the third dimension. and we get our organic forms. So practice your forms. You should be able to make them without using perspective lines. Perspective line helps, but in the art business, if you want to be a professional artist, your best friend is time, but at the same time, your worst enemy. Do everything and anything that you can to save time. So practice your forms. Start with cuboids. Make cuboids of different shapes at different angles. They don't have to be perfect. In time, they will be perfect. But at the beginning, just make as many as you can. I'm Mohit. See you later.